Your Holiness, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, it's a great pleasure and honor to welcome the 14th Dalai Lama to the Council of Europe. He is a strong advocate of our common values, human rights and the rule of law. He has signed the International Amnesty's petition for the abolition of death penalty, which is at the top of our agenda. He is a strong advocate of gender equality. He has spoken in favor of equal rights for everybody, including regardless of sexual orientation. He is, in all, he is a man with the strongest commitment to human rights and the rule of law. We are all the friends because you got the Nobel Peace Prize at the time, the committee which I headed. So we have met many times before. I have to leave you now because I'm going to open the conference of the speakers of parliaments in Europe. So you are in the hands of the Human Rights Commission now. Your Holiness, it was a great pleasure to see you again, and I'm convinced that you will give strong messages here which we will have in our minds forever. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. See you again. Thank you. Brothers, sisters, indeed, I feel great honor to say meeting with you. So then, I think you already know this is some of my commitment. Number one commitment, promotion of sense of oneness of 7 billion human beings. I feel now a lot of problems which we are facing is with too much emphasis on differences, that actually differences on secondary level, yes, there are differences. Different nationality, different system, or different religion, and within same sort of community, differences rich and poor, educated, uneducated. It's so many sort of factors to make divisions. Differences. Since with too much emphasis on secondary level of differences, then conflict come. For national interest, religious interest, or many sort of reasons, you see, the problem happen. So now only remedy to reduce this problem, we have to go deeper level. We are same human being. I want a happy life. They also want a happy life. They also part of me, part of us. So whole world should consider part of us, part of me. There's a reason. I'm one of the 7 million human beings. The humanity, happy, peace, I also get maximum benefit. If humanity much sort of, the distrust, fear, problem, then every individual, directly or indirectly, uncomfortable. And morally speaking, our brothers, sisters, dying, killing. How can we remain indifferent? We have to work. whether effective or not, we have to do something. So therefore, my number one commitment is promotion of sense of oneness of 7 billion human beings. The second commitment, I am Buddhist, so promotion of religious harmony. Now these days, due to different religion, even within same religion, like Sunni and Shia, within same sort of Muslim, some problems. So this, no proper reason, no sort of like that. So this, too much narrow-minded, short-sighted. And on top of that, sometimes I think politicians a little bit sort of manipulated. Like Northern Ireland, I have been few times there. So I told the people, the political differences, Great Britain and Ireland, I said, let them solve. We people who have some sort of, at the people level, we should not involve the name of religion, Catholics, Protestant. That's terribly mistake. So if some problem or some connection with the politicians, then let them solve. The genuine sort of believer, say, all carry same message, whether Christian, whether Jews or Muslim, Hindus, Buddhists, Jains, all, you see, should be more compassionate person, because all this teaching, the ultimate sort of message is message of love. And in order to carry these sort of the practice more successfully, they also, you see, teach us importance of tolerance, forgiveness, and self-discipline. So therefore, and then one example, India, most populated democratic country, ancient country, all major world religious traditions lived there together. Occasionally some problem, but basically very, very harmony. So therefore, since one big democratic country, over 2,000 years religious harmony there, so then, you see, in ancient time, nation or continent more or less isolated. And now today, through information, through technology, and also economy and tourists, you see, we much closer. So now there is possibility to promote religious harmony through understanding, through mutual respect. So that's my number 2 commitment. Number 3, I'm Tibetan. Political matter, since 2011, I totally retired. Not only myself retired, but also, you see, about 4 centuries tradition, Dalai Lama institution, automatically become head of both temporal and spirituality. Now that formally, voluntarily, happily ended. So future sometimes I jokingly telling, since 5th Dalai Lama started this practice. So if 5th Dalai Lama reappear, what he going to say? But then there's no danger. His reappearances, so I can decide. So I really feel some of our religious sort of institution, including Dalai Lama institution, some connection or some sort of influence the existing society sort of, also the habit. That is feudal system. So that now feudal system outdated. Now democracy, freedom of individual, freedom of the community, rule of law, not rule of individual, but a rule of law. That's now time. So Dalai Lama institution is outdated. So I totally sort of, not only myself is retired, but also cease the tradition, that tradition. Now we enjoy political matter, carried by elected political leadership. So recently, our political sort of election. Originally few candidates, then later 2 candidates. So the way there are sort of competition. Also we learned from Indian politicians sort of competition, and now in America also now too they are quite serious to compete each other. So my Indian friend, he told me, "Oh, your election, now a little bit sort of too much sort of competition or like that." Then I told him, ancient time we learned all this rich sort of philosophy or psychology or these things we learned from India. Now modern time we also learning from Indian politicians sort of behavior. I told them. Sense of competition. So in any way, since then, I fully committed preservation of Tibetan ecology. That is something very important. And then preservation of Tibetan culture, including Tibetan language. A culture of peace, culture of non-violence, culture of compassion. That is really worthwhile to preserve. Then also, Tibetan knowledge about ancient India's Nalanda tradition. I usually describe those Nalanda masters for Buddhists. Of course, these are Buddhist masters. But on human level, these are great philosophers. And because they very much emphasis on reason, if you investigate, reasons, through reasons, if you see Buddha's own teaching goes against reality, then we have the liberty to reject Buddha's own word. So, their way of thinking is very scientific. They very much emphasize experiment and reasoning, not just faith. So sometimes I describe these great masters of Nalanda, also ancient Indian scientists, like that. So I really feel worthwhile to preserve that kind of, I may say, very scientific way of spirituality, like that. So, and then it is my duty to thank our friend, the European Union, right from the beginning, very much supportive about our issue, our problem. So, it is my duty on behalf of 6 million Tibetan people. Their life, constant fear, difficult. So I want to thank you, and not only thank, but also appeal the Tibetan issue. As I mentioned earlier, we are not seeking independence. History is history. We very much sort of impressed the spirit of European Union. Independent sort of sovereign state. Important, but not so important. But common interest is more important. So we also happily join or remain within the People's Republic of China, provided they must respect our unique culture, including language and rich Buddhist philosophy. And preservation of Tibetan rich Buddhist tradition, immense help to Chinese Buddhists. Now there are about 400 million Buddhists in China. So many of these Chinese Buddhists, they really showing genuine interest and now recognize Tibetan Buddhist tradition is authentic Nalanda tradition. Like that. So, I want to thank you. Now question and answer.
Thank you very much, Your Holiness, for these words.
Thank you.
But particularly for your laughter. I think those of us who work in human rights, we need more laughter.
Then I think I want to share one of my practice. Say, firstly, of course, I always consider every human being as my brothers, sisters. No differences. And then I love smile. So firstly, I show smile. Then most cases, the other side also, you see, return smile. Then I feel very happy. And sometimes you see people too much serious. Then one method, do you know, I do this. then they respond laughing.
I'll have to try that on my missions. I have two questions from the panel up here, and then I will open it up to the floor. The first is from the President of the European Court of Human Rights, the crown jewel in our system, Mr. Guido Raimondi. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Niels. Your Holiness, allow me first of all to express my gratitude for your inspiring speech. And I'm also grateful for your availability to reply to questions. It is a sign of benevolence for this audience that is, I'm sure, universally and deeply appreciated. The question I should like to ask Yes. The question I should like to ask concerns the relationship from an ethical and moral point of view between duties and rights. Duties are mentioned in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, but they are not as such in the European Convention on Human Rights. Do you believe that the exercise of the rights embodied by international instruments and national laws should be performed by those who are protected with the consciousness of their duties vis-à-vis other human beings, the state and the society at large? I thank you very much, Your Holiness. Thank you.
I believe, you see, the very concept of freedom and right, I think very much sort of, very much based on basic human nature is more compassionate. So we take for granted basic human nature is positive. Therefore, you see, in order to utilize these sort of potential, you see, individual freedom and right, you see, these things is mentioned. And I think the human right or this individual freedom is very much related with democratic sort of society or system. I think maybe wrong. The human history, I think the concept of right, this human right also is a right to express, freedom of expression, freedom of the thought. These, I think, some kind of reaction from through centuries total control by kings or queens sometimes warlords. So the new time come, then we specially emphasize importance of right of individual and freedom of speech. So democratic system or concept also, I think, some kind of reaction from the existence of the system, rule from one person or one sort of elite people. So therefore, the right does not mean we have a right to kill other people or cheat other people. No. We take for granted basic human nature is more compassionate. Therefore, and also we have the nature of creativity. So therefore, right is very important. So it is wrong in the name of right of killing other people, cheating other people, exploiting other people, and corruptions. Wrong. Of course wrong. So that's my view. So right and duty, you must use your potential to serve other people, and not only human being but environment and also other species of mammals. That's very good. You see, we have the ability. No other species of mammal have the sort of ability to think about environment or about sort of different species of mammal. We human beings, with this brain, we have the ability. I think social animals, they have limited compassion, but no sort of potential or no ability of the infinite compassion. So we human beings, this wonderful brain, you see, we have the ability to develop infinite love. So I think the very meaning of right is we should utilize fully this positive potential, not negative. I think we already, you see, I think use number of people, you see, who use their right to kill, to cheat, to lie. Isn't it? Now next. Do you need some further clarification?
Your Holiness, I'm extremely grateful for your response.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from my colleague here, the Katrin Kiwi, the ambassador of Estonia, the chair of the Minister's Deputies. Please.
Oh, Estonia.
Yes.
Estonia. As soon as you got independence, I'm almost first foreign visitors, and the Czech as well. I really very much moved in the front of the statue of President Havel. Wonderful.
Thank you, Your Holiness. We are grateful to have you here in the Council of Europe, where 47 member states are working hard to raise standards on human rights, democracy and rule of law. And in today's world, we witness two parallel processes running in opposite direction. On one hand, the enjoyment of individual human rights, the resilience of democracy, and the strength of rule of law has never in the history been better than now. Also, the feeling of compassion that feeds the demand for ever-rising legislative standards has never been shared more than now. On the other hand, never before we have seen so much misery, anger and terror, which provoke hard responses by governments. It's hard to figure out what would come out of it and what is the direction we are heading to. What would be the way out? Thank you.
Now, when I feel very hot, I use this, you see, little bit of the towel with cold water. You feel too hot, and this bowl hat, you see, this kind of sort of hat is very, very helpful, very useful. I have sort of, as a result of observer, this is the world event. Of course, I'm practitioner of altruism. So, when we heard killing or bullying and corruptions, really, you feel we have to do something whenever there's possibility. So then, recently I was in Geneva, the Human Rights Human Rights Commission. So there, you see, some other one Nobel laureate, you see, they speak, you see, a human rights violation in their own country. Then my turn. I have plenty of things to complain about my own country. However, I want to tell something different. This sort of human rights violation is a result of certain causes. Right? According to law of causality, every human action, there is motivation. So this violation is in motivation level, hatred, fear, these very much involved. So now I told there, and I often telling people, our existing education system is not adequate. Present existing modern education very much oriented about material value, not talking about our inner value. So this generation, frankly speaking, all of you come from that kind of education, so your very way of life is more materialistic life, materialistic culture, because materialistic oriented education. So now, if the present sort of education system go continuously, I think this 21st century also can be century of violence and century of miserable. This century may repeat the similar sort of condition of 20th century. Now we have to find the education system more holistic, not only material value, but inner value. Since this related with education, so secular education should go along secular education. So if these moral ethics, inner value, based on religious faith, and then it will not cover 7 billion human beings. Out of 7 billion, about 1 billion non-believer. Among the believer also, firstly, you see different sort of tradition, different faith, and different philosophy, different concept. So therefore, it will not, if moral sort of education based on religion will not cover entire humanity. So therefore, in India, India's own constitution, based on secular the secular concept. So respect all religion and also respect the non-believer. So we need education about moral principle, moral ethics, not based on religion, but based on scientific finding and common experience and common sense. So that I usually call the universal values. When we use the secular, to some people it's okay. To some people, secular means a little bit disrespect to religion. So that's not the case. Therefore, the universal value. So we fully committed that. So we, some sort of one group, some scientists, especially brain specialists, and then some educationists, some social workers. We already started making draft about a curriculum of moral principle without touching any religion. So I think within, I think next year, ready to publish. So you see, hopefully this is some area, some sort of school. So test, experiment, as an experiment. And if some, in America, you see, a few cities, they already developed name like city of compassion, city of kindness. So accordingly, within the city, more program about compassion and also the kindness. So in school also, you see more sort of talk about these value. As a result, children in this school much more peaceful, and these children ready to help or serve other people. So some not sort of detailed sort of program, systematic sort of program, but some rough idea. So already seems some sort of the positive result. So that's we are seriously thinking. So the through education, not talking about religion, not talking about God or heaven and hell, just you see simply how to be happier humanity, happier family, happier individual. Generation come from that kind of education, I believe, better society, more compassionate society. So I'm not expecting better sort of happier humanity achieved within my lifetime. I do not expect. I am now already 81 years old. So another 10 years, 91. Then another 10 years, 101. Impossible to see. But it is worthwhile. Start now. Then, after 20, 30 years, I think generation who come through that kind of education, I think could be more compassionate sort of people. So then leadership come from that kind of society, more compassionate oriented sort of way, more compassionate sort of culture, more compassionate society. Leader come from that, I think will be more compassionate. Otherwise, you see, difficult. The society, more sort of, also the money-oriented sort of society, and then leadership come from that. Also, it's like that. Even religious people, also you say, they use their religion as a profession in order to make money. So, yes, so education, I feel education is the key factor. That's my view. If something wrong, please make a correction.
We're almost out of time, but I want to give the opportunity at least one or two questions from the floor. I see Anne Brasseur. You please use the microphone and introduce yourself.
Thank you, Your Holiness. Thank you very much.
Sit down.
Well, thank you. You know, I got an education. I was told at home when I speak to people I should stand up. So that was my education. That's what I did. No, thank you very much. And you just spoke about education. I come from Luxembourg. I'm a former Minister of Education. So I was very interested by what you were saying. But I'm speaking here as an ambassador of the Council of Europe of the no hate speech movement. We have a no hate speech movement, and I'm sure you are going to support our movement, and that is our sign, because it's in line with what you said. And I would be delighted to give you later on this badge. I also want to inform you that we have a handbook for teachers about the no hate speech. So as a Council of Europe, we want to have that entered into the curricula of speech. But as you are editing also a book, we would be interested to work together, because in my view there are three elements, among others, really endangering our democratic systems. That's poverty, it's corruption, and it's hate. So we have to work together, religious people and non-religious people, and I think our movement should go beyond the Council of Europe in order to say no to hate, and I really would be grateful if you could support our movement. Thank you very much, Your Holiness.
Bring here.
It's not easy.
Then I think that I want have one picture.
That would be. I have mine as well. So
You have two.
yes. We have two languages, French and English. That's why I have the both. That's why I have both.
Go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate all your movement. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And I'm very much only happy to give you one copy. One is this not finalized but drafting. So I would like to receive comment or suggestions, criticism. So then I think end of the next year we can finalize. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.